Give us a countdown. Just give us 1, 2, 3 on 3.
The outside edge.
That's close and out.
Hello and welcome to Jack.
Hello, Jackers.
Hello, Quirky.
I thought I was anchoring this first show.
I thought I was. Well, we didn't really discuss it, did we? I suppose thoroughly, anyway. Tell you what we'll do. I'll toss for it.
Well, that's what we do in cricket, don't we? Heads.
It's a head.
I bet.
In you go.
Well, what I was going to say is that Jackers and Quirk sounds something like a pub, the name of a pub. And it would be very appropriate because, we're just two grumpy old men, really, who enjoy a pint and love talking cricket.
Absolutely. In fact, a bar stool is a perfect setting.
It's a bit creaky, this one, though.
Well, I don't know that it is. I thought that was your knee.
We've been talking a lot of cricket lately, of course, what with the England tour, and it wasn't a great tour for the Proteas.
It was a shocker, wasn't it, really? If divided into 4 segments, went to England. It was a long 3 or 4 months that they were there in terms of they lost the ODI series, which was a good build-up to the Champions Trophy. Got knocked out get to a semi-final.
No, quarter-final.
Quarter-final, was it, of the Champions Trophy. And once again, a disappointing performance. A couple of T20s were chucked in, I think, just for just to make a bob or two. And then 3-1 in the Test series. That's a poor result for South Africa.
And I think it's true to say that we really missed A.B. de Villiers in that Test series.
Yeah, we did. I mean, he was very much in the news, wasn't he? In terms of he pulled out of he didn't want to play in a couple of Test series, of which this was one. And you only got to look at that batting order. That when you lose inside a couple of years, literally, the likes of a Callis and a Smith, and then a de Villiers, sort of says, well, actually, I'm not sure that I can play this much cricket if I want to. If I want to play cricket for a decent period of time, which hopefully now has all been sorted out. That's another subject. But wow, we missed him. We did miss him.
Yeah, it's good to hear that he's wanting to play now in all forms of cricket. He seems to have sorted it out with Cricket South Africa, and we desperately need him.
Yeah, I think that there was an opinion out there in the street that how can we just allow somebody to pick and choose when he wants to play? And he's now explained it to us a lot better, in as much as what he really wanted to do was to sit down with Cricket South Africa, say, this is how long I want to play cricket for, and how am I going to manage to do that? So it's going to mean that I'm going to have to play at certain times and not at others. So it's certainly good to have him back for the home series here, albeit
and
not
the absence
Bangladesh.
of Faf du Plessis as captain, and from a batting point of view in that first test at Lords, where we got thrashed, that wasn't good.
Yeah, no, it was a pity because, I mean, we all know that they were having their first child, Faf and his wife, and that is the norm nowadays, that daddy's at the bedside and that sort of thing, which is, I think it's fantastic. And the sad thing, though, was that the baby had actually been born, and he could have hopped on a plane and flown over and played, but there was a slight complication and so on, and obviously his place needed to be with his wife at that time. So he was able to at least view that game from a very different point of view. And so I think he would have learned a couple of things, albeit that we won the next test, which was great. So we thought, oh, good, fast back, it'll be okay. And we were disappointing.
And now, of course, we've given Russell Domingo's given way as the coach to a new coach, Otis Gibson, the big West Indian fast bowler. And he was the bowling coach of England against us. So he would have had a good look at what he's got to take over.
Yeah, there might be a couple of things that he's already saying. When I get the opportunity to work with him, this is going to be my suggestion. He's also pretty well known here in South Africa, not necessarily by the youngsters, but he played out here in the Currie Cup format. Played for Border, if I'm not incorrect. So he understands, if you like, the culture of South African cricket.
Of course, we'd love to hear from you, and you can very easily send us a question, which we'll try and answer for you, on hashtag Jackers and Quirk. And I see there is one here from a gentleman called Rodney. Now, Rodney wants to know whether Russell Domingo should really have lost his job, that he's had to cop it because of our poor performance in England.
Well, I don't think there's a yes or no to that answer. We know the vagaries of being a coach or a manager in Premiership soccer or whatever. You lose a few, you're shown the door, and it's consistent with, I think, other coaches who have lost their jobs at various times. He had a really good run. He did a very good job. I mean, not everybody goes to Australia and beats Australia, which he did, following Mickey Arthur's success as well. And then when you have a summer in England, the one that we've just been talking about, I think you pretty much know that the writing's on the wall.
Nice chap too.
It was a shocker, wasn't it? Really,
It's absolute sacrilege. Well, we've just been discussing our grump of the week is the fact that our bowlers so often get wickets with no balls. And I think it's true to say that it was probably our batting that let us down in the England Test series. Our bowlers actually came up trumps most of the time. But on that first morning of the Lord's Test match, or the first day of the Lord's Test, we dropped catches. Morne Morkel bowled Stokes with a no ball, and he went on to get another 50-odd runs. Mm-hmm. And even the left-arm spinner, Amar Raj, got Root out off a no ball.
Yeah, 149 Root had really. So he got another 50.
Exactly. Now, to me, it's absolute sacrilege that our bowlers who are professional cricketers, and that's all they do these days is play cricket, and how they can bowl no balls to that extent, I don't understand.
Yeah, well, I'm not prepared to comment on that, but I will double grump it. I don't think umpires have to work very hard any longer. They don't have to look at the front line because they wait until a wicket falls and then they say, can we check whether that was a no ball or not? No, I don't think that's right. I think they should stand by the decisions that they have to make, and if they miss it, they miss it. And you take Morkel, for instance, who's, as you say, 13 wickets he's taken with no balls. On 2 occasions, Morkel was called on the field by the umpire and got the wicket. And then when we did the replay of the no ball, which you do for the public to see, they weren't no balls. So, and he had no recourse. He couldn't say, well, can I appeal against that? Can I see the replay? Because the batsman would say he changed his shot, which we know perfectly well is impossible. So it is a bone of contention with me. I agree with you. No balls are a bad thing creeping in.
I mean, Jokers, you bowled over 14,000 overs in top-class cricket. How many times were you guilty of bowling a no ball and getting a wicket?
I can't recall of any that were called. I probably got a few wickets with some that weren't called.
Till next time.
The outside edge.